Please come.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. Come, please.
Thank you, sir.
You may take off your mask, please.
Yes.
Okay. Ria Dabi. Ria means something or is just a phonetic name?
Sir, Ria in the Hindi language means a calm person or a person who sings well.
Okay. If you are asked to tell us in 3-4 sentences about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your aspirations.
So I would say that my strengths are that I am a hardworking person. I remain dedicated to my goals. I consider myself a creative person because I also like to paint and read books. And apart from that, I would say that.
How are you suitable for civil services?
So I would say I'm suitable for civil services because I am a compassionate and empathetic person. I can understand the concerns of the underprivileged sections of society since I've worked in various programs such as the Ujala project in my school and the National Service.
Do you think the Indian bureaucracy should be a committed bureaucracy? You understand what is a committed bureaucracy? Commitment of a bureaucrat should be to whom?
I think, sir, the commitment of a bureaucracy should be towards maximizing the public welfare and enhancing the good governance of the country.
And in a very legal term, the commitment or allegiance should be to what of a civil servant?
Sir, I don't know what would be the legal
Think
term.
of where do you derive your power from, where do you derive your status from, your position.
Sir, in
Constitution.
Constitution.
What is Sora painting?
So Sora painting is a tribal pictographic art which is done by the Sora tribes living in Odisha.
In Odisha?
Yes, sir.
Do you belong to Odisha or
No,
Madhya
sir.
Pradesh?
No, sir. I was born in Madhya Pradesh, but I've lived most of my life in Delhi.
I see. But Bhopal is known for one or two events and instances. Can you think of something by which Bhopal is associated?
So Bhopal is famously known as the city of lakes, and it is a very green city. There are famous monuments also located around Bhopal.
Something happened in Bhopal, some Bhopal event, Bhopal.
So there was a very unfortunate industrial disaster which is associated with Bhopal. That is the Bhopal gas tragedy.
What happened?
So there was a plant, Union Carbide India Limited plant, and it was manufacturing a fertilizer pesticide of a kind, and a very poisonous gas was released. And
there was some controversy about its CMD or chairman who had come from US. Do you remember his name and what was the controversy of that company, CMD of that company?
No, sir, I'm not able to recall the name.
Anderson, chairman of Union Carbide, United States.
Yes, I know he's from the United States, but I cannot recall his name.
And what was the controversy? Do you recall?
So the controversy was mainly around that he had come to India, he had looked after what the incident had taken place, and they were saying that it was just a poor maintenance because of the poor maintenance of the plant. So they were not ready to take up the responsibility as such, and there was also an issue about
you think if there is a railway accident, major railway accident, the chairman of the railway board should be arrested?
So I think immediately arresting would be an extreme step. I think if a railway accident takes place, then first of all a formal inquiry should take place, how the accident took place, what exactly happened.
Ria, sometimes we use several terms,
Yes,
like for example welfare, development, empowerment. How would you differentiate and make us understand these terms?
So I would say that welfare is more of a general term because welfare can be for any section of the society. If it is the poor, if it is the unemployed or the old age section of the society. But I would say that empowerment is a more specific term because we generally use empowerment when we need to uplift the disadvantaged sections of the society, whether it is the women, the disabled sections, the Dalits or the tribals, etc.
But welfare also is meant for the poor.
Yes, sir, welfare, but empowerment is more with the upliftment of
What do you
those
mean by
sections.
empowerment?
So empowerment would mean that we are giving them the favorable conditions of life. We can improve their
And
livelihood.
development?
So development would mean that they would have better economic prospects. They can earn for themselves basic income.
Okay. Recently we are talking about ease of doing business.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by ease of doing business? What is this policy about?
So ease of doing business would mean that if a company is located in India, then it would have a freedom to do the business without any restrictions. For example, there would be less red tapeism, it would get the permissions easily, and there would be no such obstructions that would result in the delay of the business.
Any indicators other than this of ease of doing business?
Sir, I would say getting the permissions or getting any land grants or access to any facilities in that area.
What do you mean by Atmanirbhar Bharat?
So Atmanirbhar Bharat is a program started by the government recently amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, which mainly believes in the policy of self-reliance, wherein India would become a country where we can manufacture majority of things on our own. We do not rely on the imports, and we can become an economic powerhouse in the future.
Suppose you are appointed secretary in the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment.
Yes.
Would you like to change your policy too of the welfare of the senior citizens and security thereof?
So we can also focus on the welfare of the elderly section of society.
What changes I am saying? What changes would you propose? There are
So
several schemes which are in operation even now, both for welfare and security. What next would you like to attempt?
So I would say another further step for the elderly section.
Are you
will be-
aware of the senior citizens' welfare and security policies?
Yes, sir, some of them. I would say a further step for the welfare can be focusing on the geriatric healthcare, because the health infrastructure can be limited for the elderly. And apart from that, I would also focus on their mental health, because in old age the elderly face issues like loneliness, anxiety, isolation. So we can
Okay,
also.
your last question. It is, if I say that Indian Administrative Service should be retitled as Indian Public Service,
Yes.
do you think it will make any difference?
So I think Indian Administrative Service is more suited, because in the Indian Administrative Service, an officer would look after the various sections. If it is education, health, nutrition, the disadvantaged section. So I think Indian Public Service would limit it, because there can be other areas also where an IAS officer would have to work upon.
So administration is not public service, you mean?
No, sir, it is administration is public service, but I think the Indian Administration Service is a more suitable name.
And if I say that Indian Civil Service or Administrative Service is neither Indian nor civil nor service, would you agree with me?
Sir, I think it is Indian. We are looking after the Indian population, and it is civil because we are doing a
But
civil association.
why I am saying so then? It is neither Indian nor civil nor service. Why I am saying so?
Sir, I don't know how to answer that.
Origin is Imperial Civil, Indian Civil Service, British. Ria, this term generally in the state they use is State Road Transport Corporations. People say that the state has a different connotation, government has different connotations.
Yes.
Okay, you tell me what's that?
Sir, I think they have a different connotation because they are functioning at various levels. For example, if it is at the union level or if it is at the state or the local level. So because of that.
You didn't get my question. I think state include government. State has population, they have jurisdictions. Okay. Do you want to join the government? Can you tell me the role of the government? Okay.
and particularly in the last about 50 years or so, for development or for economic development?
So I would say that the role of the government has been widespread in the last few years or the decades.
Last 3 years?
Last few years or the decades, if we can measure that. The role of the government has been in various sectors, for example, introducing various changes in education, improving the health infrastructures, then improving the infrastructures, the roadway, railways, and also focusing upon the empowerment of women and other sections.
There is a concept called public goods, which is there generally in economics, but even political scientists are also using it. Have you heard this term?
Yes.
What does it mean?
So, public good is a good which is if one person consumes it, then still it is available for the other person. So, it is non-excludable and non-rivalrous also in nature.
Okay, very good. Acha, Ria, tell me, there's institutions called planning commissions. This was dismantled by the present government. Why they dismantled these institutions? What was so difficult about these institutions? And they created another institution called Niti Aayog. So, why they dismantled? This is one. And what are the mandates of this institution called Niti Aayog?
So the government had dismantled the planning commission just because they thought that it had become a little outdated and it was limited in its functioning, because they also wanted to provide a greater role to the states also, since the planning commission was mostly centralized. So
you mean planning commission was not giving any role to the state? Outdated means the outdated car can be discarded, likewise you discard planning commission?
No sir, I mean that it was constituted long back, so they wanted to give it a fresh look, so they thought that we can create a new organization instead and also give states a role in that. So that is why the Niti Aayog was established, and its mandate is mainly focusing on cooperative and competitive federalism and coming up with...
What do you mean by cooperative federalism? You are a student of political science. You can distinguish between cooperative federalism and federalism.
So federalism would mean a power sharing arrangement between the center and the states, wherein they work with each other in order to establish various welfare policies or any other acts or any other acts of the country. But cooperative federalism can be distinguished from federalism, because in cooperative federalism the center and the states would not...
Yeah, my last question to you. You know, the second administrative reform commissions, many reports. Can you tell me some recommendations of the 10th report or the 6th report that's on the local governments?
I'm sorry sir, I'm not able to recall.
No idea? Acha, okay. Can you tell me the difference between decentralization of power and devolution of power?
So decentralization of power would mean that we are giving power to the grassroots level or the local government, if we can say so, and devolution would mean that we are devolving some kind of power to any other authority. It would not necessarily involve the grassroots level.
Yes, Ria,
Yes.
you must have heard about the NGT,
Yes.
what role it is playing in the field of environment, with some example.
So the National Green Tribunal has been focusing upon various environmental cases in the country. For example, it gives rulings on the use of the old vehicles which release a lot of vehicular emissions. Then it also focused upon the various environmental disasters that we had recently. For example, there was a gas leak at the LG Polymers plant in Vajirao. There was also the oil well burnout in Assam. So like that, NGT works on various such environmental cases.
What are the main causes of climate change globally?
So I would say that the causes of climate change can be natural or anthropogenic. Naturally, it can involve any changes in the atmosphere or any natural phenomena. And anthropogenic, I would say that we are releasing a lot of poisonous gases in the atmosphere because of various activities such as vehicles, industries, construction plants. We are also destroying the biodiversity, we are destroying the trees and the oceans. So they act as carbon sinks. So that all leads to climate change and the warming of the global world.
What is the literacy rate of MP state? Because you were born in MP, but you have not stayed.
So I was born, but I've lived most of my life in Delhi.
Most of life in Delhi. Anyway, so you must be knowing about some literacy state of MP. No idea. State Delhi.
Yes, in Delhi, sir, the literacy rate is around 83%.
83%. So it's good. You are satisfied, or it should be further increased?
Sir, I think it is good compared to the other states of the UTs and states of the country, but it can be improved further.
Okay, if you are selected and made Chief Secretary of Delhi State, what new schemes you will launch for the betterment of women?
Sir, for the betterment of women, I would mainly focus upon providing the self-defense exercises to women in Delhi. I would also focus on improving the infrastructure. For example, there should be lighting at all places. There can be surveillance and community patrolling as well. We can also provide other workshops so that the women of Delhi are more aware about their rights.
Okay. And then another last question I can ask you, that if your friend comes to Delhi, which 3 places you will recommend as the most important tourist places?
Sir,
with some justification. 3 places with some justification.
Sir, I would say that the friend of mine should visit the 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Delhi, because they have a historical significance. They are also very famous, and I think everyone should visit them. The Red Fort, the Qutub Minar complex, and the Humayun's tomb.
Okay, waste to energy. Is there any project in Delhi?
Sir, as far as I am aware, the Supreme Court recently, not recently, a few time back, it gave a ruling that the landfills in Delhi, in order to dispose of them, in order to improve them, the waste to energy plants should be established around those landfills.
Okay, thank you.
So next,
What was your optional?
Sir, political science and international.
एक सवाल पूछो. Ria, recently there was some kind of a controversy over a law in Delhi.
Yes, sir.
What is that law?
Sir, there was recently a new act was passed, an amendment to the act was passed, that is the Government of NCT of Delhi Act. So it was amended. And
What are the provisions of that law?
so the provisions of that law is that the word government, which is used in the act, now it stands to mean the Lieutenant Governor, not the elected government of Delhi. Also the Lieutenant Governor, the...
Okay, suppose you have given IFS as number 2 of
Yes.
your choice. Suppose you become the ambassador in China. How shall you begin?
Sir, I would say that I would first begin by trying to learn the language and trying to learn the culture of that city, so that I can understand how the India-China relations can work and how they can be improved, because I would be new there. So I would first...
What steps would you take apart from learning the language Chinese?
That will take 4 years.
Yes, sir, apart from that, I would say that I would talk with whoever is my counterpart there.
What is the main job as an ambassador of a country to another country? What do you think will be your main essence of your assignment? Do you know the full term? Ambassador, it has a full term. I mean there are some other words after this.
No, sir, I do not know the full term.
Ambassador and plenipotentiary extraordinary.
Okay,
So you speak for the government of India. So what is your main job there?
I think as an ambassador, my main job would be that I would try to promote goodwill of my country, I would try to engage with my counterparts. I would try to protect our national interest.
Yes.
And I would try
Good.
to.
Okay, yeah. We'll just call you. Give us a minute,
Thank
and
you,
then
sir.
give you our assessment.
Thank you.